All right, welcome. We're going to do a whole series of these kind of just informational quick bits. Today we're going to talk about plier heads. What about them? Do you know what they're for? Do you know which one is the right tool for you? Before you purchase any of these, you should certainly know why you are buying it. Don't just buy a multi-tool because, hey, I need a multi-tool. All right, because every plier head is going to do something a little different. Every one will have its limitations. So let's get started. Let's figure out, do you know? Do you understand this? Because this is a kind of important. And if you don't get the right multi-tool for your purpose, you're going to end up really being unhappy with your choice. So hopefully this saves some people some money over the course of their life with any luck. Is bigger pliers better? Yeah, sometimes. All right, sometimes it's better. But the one thing that I really appreciate about the original Leatherman PST is that it was not trying to be this. It was not trying to replace a spanner wrench or something of that specific style. Did it have the ability to loosen and tighten a nut? Yes. However, it is not this. It's not this either. It knew what it was trying to be. It was trying to be needle nose pliers with hybrid functionality. And it did so because it was long and thin, not too dissimilar from the plier head we see on the Leatherman shoes. Size is not always better, and that's kind of a very important thing to remember. So, is there a reason to go bigger? Oh, hell yeah. Oh, hell yeah. When you are putting serious torque or twisting, you want something that's going to be able to take the force enabled. Also, some of the larger plier heads, they have additional functionality that may actually come in handy, many of which people don't talk about, such as the hardwire cutters in the back of the Leatherman Surge and Supertool 300, which makes this one of the best pliers for heavy-duty use. However, it does have that elongated nose, so this is very much a hybrid plier. It does get into spaces, but not as well as a small, narrow plier will do. This is designed to be a multitasker, and it does its job very, very well. It's been highly, regarded already. But at the end of the day, this is a multi-purpose tool, and it has a special place. My biggest frustration personally are with the tools that are trying to be too across the board. They're trying too hard to do too many things. My favorite, or least favorite, I should say, example of this is the plier head on the Spirit X. Their tip is incredibly sturdy, but in my opinion is not narrow enough to function properly as a needle nose plier. It's just not narrow enough. And because of that, it sometimes struggles at those fine tasks. Is it an excellent plier head? Yes, it's an excellent plier head, and it will take far more abuse than you could ever imagine. In fact, I would say it's probably going to outlive most other multi-tools. But when you go too hybrid, what happens sometimes is you give up too much. And if you have a very specific task, you might want to make sure you get the right one. Once in a while, I get this loathsome question of what multi-tool do I recommend the most? And I hate the question because, like I'm trying to explain here, is that you have to know more about what you're trying to do. There is a justification for having more than one multi-tool. But I will say this, there are some multi-tools you're going to regret buying less than you would if, you just kind of bought what somebody recommended. And those are the ones that have the most unique functionality. They're generally the ones that are more specialized. And what I've learned is that it's better to have a series of specialized tools, which is probably why tradesmen have individual tools for individual jobs, okay, than having one truly multi-purpose tool. And that is why if I'm going to recommend one, then you don't have a multi-tool yet, the one I recommend is the Leatherman Crunch. This is the only one that I would put on my list that says, hey, you can't find a replacement for me. And that is the truth. There is nothing like it. It is one of a kind. There's nothing smaller that does what it does. It's very, very compact and yet has an incredible functionality. You're just not going to get this in any other tool. And because of that, this is the one tool that I think you'll regret buying the least. It's not to say that it will be perfect out of the box. It's not to say that the tool is perfect itself. Just that it is the most irreplaceable of these on the table. Is there any others? That's where I draw the line. There's only one other tool, and it's not a multi-tool, that Leatherman carries, for instance, that I would say you'll never regret buying. And that's the Leatherman Raptor, but it's not a multi-tool because we're talking primarily pliers here. Okay? So Leatherman Crunch, definitely the first one to pick up if you're not sure what to get next. Maybe you have a multi-tool like this and you're trying to figure out what's your next step. And I would suggest if you have a multi-tool already, whether it's a Gerber, doesn't matter, as long as it's a needle nose or hybrid plier, the next one you should consider is the Leatherman Crunch, because it will complement that tool incredibly well and accomplish things that the other tool does not do very well. Fair enough? Now, small plier heads are a problem because what people do with them is they treat them like this. They tend to think that this and this can do the same things, and they really can't. Just because they're in the same shape does not mean they can accomplish the same tasks. Be reasonable and know what you're going to be doing with it. If you are a tradesman, do yourself a favor, get something more heavy duty. Get a Super Tool 300. Get a Surge. Hell, get a center drive. But if you do get a center drive, make sure you upgrade the cutters. All right. You don't want to underestimate what your task is, because the reality is nearly every single plier head that you're going to see on a multi-tool is going to be cast, not forged. That's a huge difference. Forged pliers like the Knipex, if I lock this onto a bar, I could stand on it and not even hesitate to do so. They're just at a whole new level of strength that you're just not going to encounter. It's just the nature of the beast. So be reasonable. Just because you have a multi-tool does not mean it's going to replace a dedicated implement. You got to be reasonable about that. And it's because of that I probably end up carrying a plier wrench with me almost every day. Because guess what? There's no way these are going to accomplish that same task. They just can't. It also helps that they all mar the surfaces of things, and that doesn't. But that's not the point. The point is you need to be reasonable about what you expect from a multi-tool, because at the end of the day, they're still just multi-tools. They are not built the same way this is. They're just not. There's too many points of weakness in something that has this many components. Are they incredibly useful? Hell yeah. Are they very, very capable? Yes, but are they as capable at the individual task? No, of course not. So just be careful and be reasonable, guys. This is just a little quip on multi-tool pliers. I hope it was useful. Maybe it wasn't. I don't know. I'm just feeling like talking about it. So hope you enjoyed. If you like, subscribe, and we'll talk again soon.